Hi guys, this is Mark, and what I'm doing for you is setting up a situation where I can show you the amount of power that the tweeter can be driven with and what the resulting loudness will be. Two curves are in front of you. Frequency is left to right. The red vertical line here is their lowest recommended crossover point of 1200 Hertz approximately. Right now I'm simulating a 50 watt input. That's the dark black line. This is a 1 watt input. So there is a difference of about 18 dB between 50 watts and 1 watt. Why am I showing you this? Well, it's giving you an illustration of how much power the tweeter can absorb and if it is still safe for it to do so. So what we can do here is check the excursion. Remember the 1200 Hertz I was talking about before? That's the lowest recommended crossover point, right? This, on this side, is our dome displacement. This is 50 watts, and how much the dome moves back and forth. So if you take a quick look over here, 0.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter, about the middle, 0.75 millimeter, 1/16 of an inch. 50 watts input. Perfectly safe for the tweeter. In fact, what happens here is it's kind of cool. If we do a proper 1200 Hertz crossover, represented by this red line, how much power could we momentarily, just a impulse, stick into this before we run out of X max? Well, 50, right? Let's do a bit more work here. Let's try 150. Almost 1200 Hertz. Right? We're still safe, aren't we? Not bad. Just cracking a millimeter. Let's do 200. Okay, that little red line is showing us that we're going beyond 5 millimeters over here. But at crossover point, approximately 1200 Hertz. What are we looking for again? Less than 2 millimeters, right? Just about. 1.6, 7, 1.5, 1.3. Pretty crazy, eh? The tweeter is not going to get any damage from a quick, clean 200 watt pulse. How much power would it take it to actually push that tweeter to 2 millimeters at our crossover point? Remember, we're at 200 watts right now for a pulse. Let's try. Let's do 400. Okay, so am I suggesting that you guys strap on a 400 watt amp onto these tweeters and everything's going to be fine? Nah, not even the slightest chance. What I'm showing you is pretty cool in that we aren't in any situation of any danger until we won't hit X max on that tweeter until we're putting in 400 watts of power. Mechanically, the tweeter's safe. The coil is only 1 inch, 24 millimeter. It's only really going to dissipate any long-term situation of about 50 watts. So let's go back to 50. I'm just showing you right now where the limits are. That's it. That's what this example's for. So let's go back to something a little bit more normal. Try 50. And again, we'll go back, recap. 116 dB, 50 watts. If you remember that purple graph, what that purple graph showed you is roughly, that's roughly 1200 hertz, roughly about 35-degree angle, eh? So if you can kind of remember that, this is around the kick drum area. Human voice goes from roughly 180 up to roughly 4,000. That is a damn good bass, and that is a lady who likes to break light bulbs and wine glasses. Mid-range basically starts and stops right around here, follows the range of the human voice. Bass starts right around here and goes down. Right here, 120, 117 hertz, chest cavity resonance. That feel it in your chest, you know, bang, bang, bang. Oh, feel that in your chest. That's right around here. Kick drum is also right around here. Lowest note on a 4-string bass is right around here. So keep in mind from this graph a couple things. Most music stops right around here, around 13 kilohertz, 14 kilohertz, 14,000 hertz, and rapidly rolls down. The white area is showing you the difference between the loudest bass and right where our tweeter's starting to take off. So where we're recommending a crossover point, there's about an 18 dB drop in required output to keep up to something in the bass area. So I'm going to go back to the other graph on the simulator and show that. So I'm trying to recreate with my cursor roughly the same angle. Kick is over here. Remember, 100 hertz. Over here, 44 hertz. Lowest note on a 4-string. 32 hertz, lowest note on a 6-string. So if you're giving your tweeter 50 watts, and you can imagine that 35-degree angle, right? Remember that? You'd be in the mid 130s to keep up. Remembering the spectral content of music, or how loud the high frequencies are versus the low frequencies. 50 watts is plenty to keep up to. I don't know if 125, 130 dB is competition level. It used to be. I'm guessing that it's still pretty damn loud because that hasn't changed. What's the least amount of power? You're driving down the highway, going home from work. You're not stuck in traffic, and you're blasting it. Mid-90s, right? You can still yell over that, talk loudly over that. Let's give ourselves, if we were shooting for mid-90s on the tweeters, how much power would you need to get that pulled off? That is 1 watt. Mid-90s would be down here. 1 watt in your car at 1200 hertz recommended crossover point. It's getting you 99 dB. How much power do you really need day-to-day use for this tweeter to work well in your car? Less than 1 watt. So I kind of gave you crazy balls to the walls insanity with 400 watt impulse. The tweeter would survive possibly. My gut feeling is he'd be letting the smoke out at that point. We went up to 50, no problem. I'll leave you guys with the ideas of, can it take 100 watts? You know it can. Here you go. Now, 100 watt amplifier for your tweeter, is it too much? What it is a really safe bet. Because if you do your 35-degree angle up here, you're pretty much 135 dB. Remembering the old purple graph. So what you've got in this situation is kind of cool. We're basically recommending you guys to stick with no less than 50 watts. That's a really good, safe, clear direction for your tweeter. If you like to play loud and proud, if you're never really going to be getting so loud that you can't shout over it, even 25 watts is enough. If you're trying to do competition grade, 100 watts is recommended. Hope it's been informative. If you guys have any questions at all, drop me a line. You know where the website is. And other than that, hope you guys have good tunes.